The Final Call is the name of the digital series that will start streaming in on February 22nd on Z5. It has Arjun Rampal in it, and I'm going to have a chat with him. It is looking absolutely intriguing and mysterious and interesting.
Thank you.
But the makers are not giving out much about the plot. What do you have to say on that?
Well, I mean, it is because you want them to be intrigued. That's why they call it trailers. Because we give up too much, because it lending itself as a thriller and a psychological thriller, you want to evoke an interest level, which hopefully we've done,
right.
And I think we've done a good job with it so far, and once that interest level, intrigue level is there, then once you come in, hopefully they enjoy the show for what it is, and it's like a cabbage, you kind of peel it and keep finding different leaves.
Arjun, you have the physicality to play this character, the captain, you have the height, the frame, the baritone, the chiseled look.
But how do you say that is how a captain is?
That's how the conventional and stereotypical captain is.
Really?
Yes.
ये पक्का पहले भी बहुत लोगों को मार चुका है और फिर मारेगा.
That is the physicality of it. At the same time, we have seen in the promos that you go through a certain emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
So how did you work on that part?
So, what drew me to this character was that one was the book, which I read, which is I'll Go With You by Priya Kumar. It's quite a solid book, and very different, because it's got this captain who's kind of suicidal, and is mentally ill, and there are these passengers with all their backstories, and there's a spiritual thrill element which merge together. For me, what was interesting about this was that we just blindly get onto a plane. And we say, okay, we're going to go from Mumbai to Delhi, and I'll reach there.
Yeah.
Okay, until unless, of course, something goes wrong with the engine or whatever. But you never think, what if my pilot is a rogue? What would happen? Right? There would be catastrophe.
Right.
So that's what really got me. A rogue pilot, a pilot mentally ill. And I mean, you can do a physical checkup. You can do, a breathalyzer test on a pilot. You can see if he's high or if his eyes are weak or whatever it is, But do we do mental checkups? And flying is a very lonely job.
Correct.
And isolation is the first factor for depression.
I was reading one of your interviews in which you said that when you play a supporting role, it is quite liberating for you.
Yeah.
By that, you do not carry the onus of being the central character. But in this one, you are the key character.
Yes.
So did you have to prepare extra for that?
Extra for it?
Yeah.
I prepare for all my characters. If there's no preparation required, then why even do it? That means you're overconfident. You think that you can easily do it. So then it's not really challenging, and there's no point.
Is there a subliminal message there? Because in one of the visuals we saw the character is snorting and doing drugs. So is there any?
He's not snorting ever.
I've seen the powder visual in which.
Yeah, but that's what your perception.
Yes, yes.
But when you watch the series, you see what it is.
और उसका हाथ इतना सा भी नहीं हिला.
So is there an anti-drug message there, or is just the part of the narrative?
You have to see the series for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The film is based on this book. So did you have to do a little bit of research there, or has the major part of the book been retained in the screenplay as well?
I did read the book. Most of it has been retained. There are, of course, a lot of additions that have happened from my character's point of view. A lot of new backstories that have come in, which Vijay did a really, really fantastic job with, because that lends itself well for a good screenplay, which is what you need. Reading a book is more leisurely, and you get time to go through all those pages, and you're kind of imagining it in your own mind. But here, if you've got a visual medium, you've got to keep it pacey, you've got to keep the correct balance of thrill and gyan. If it gets too gyani, people just switch the channel. So you've got it's tricky. So, but he, I think, cracked it well.
There have been psychological thrillers in the past, both in the form of films as well as the web series. But this one is different in that it is spiritual psychological thriller. How do you define this genre? Because I was talking to the writer, I was talking to Priya, and she said even the genre of the book is the same.
That's what's interesting about it. It's the final call. So it's got various
it's the
names.
ultimate call.
Yes, the ultimate call. It's the last call. And there's an astrologer who's a very key character who is sitting there, who knows kind of what's going to happen.
Right.
And then there are other people from different walks of life who suddenly say, oh my God, we're gonna it's doom. What's going to come out of it? And how when you come towards the end, which we all are going to finally die, right? And the end is always going to be miserable. There's no glory in death, right? You just are dead, and sometimes it's painful, and most of the time it's painful for people you leave behind. So there is nothing nice about it. There is nothing, it is terrible. So, because it's the end, and you don't know what there is beyond, or you don't. Right? So, at that point in time, how your mind would race through it is what spiritually you try to capture,
But given the complexity of the story, is there any residue that has left behind after playing this complex character?
I think with all characters, when you take which are layered and which are dark and which are, some things which you have to research on various levels or draw from your memory of emotion, they always stay with you. So you have to have these switches inside your body, like how you have in your rooms, where you switch it on and off whenever you want to, and that's what you do. So once it's over, that switch off.
How do you see this platform, the digital platform, given the nature of the medium, given the ever-shrinking attention spans of the audiences? And that's why the net is the medium that caters to the youth most. So how do you view this platform, and what exactly preparation needs as a producer to bring your baby, so to speak, on this platform?
So this is going to be mostly where people are going to view maximum amount or spend maximum amount of their time, their leisure time, this is what you'll spend, like you finish a hard day's work, you have some dinner, you just put on, like, say, a show, or whatever, and you have a huge library to choose from. It's an animal which has been created, okay, which constantly needs to be fed,
right?
Okay, because there are a lot of people also feeding off it, right, like us,
right?
Okay, which is the consumer. So it's a very exciting time for any person who has something to say, can put it out there, and this is a platform which will be there to encourage that. So it's a great time for creative people.
Arjun, how do you see, your journey has been quite interesting. So how do you see the newer platforms that are available now, and you evolving as an actor as well? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to choosing a particular product, what exactly goes into the processing?
Like, would I watch it myself? Number one.
Yeah.
What is there for me to do in it? Who are the people who are attached to it? Because, if we did, like, for example, it's easy to say that we are doing like in the final call incident, it's easy to say, okay, he's a pilot, he's in a cockpit, and you've got this plane and all of that, but that infrastructure does not exist in India. You don't have that cockpit, you don't have that plane to go and shoot in. So they actually went to London to shoot that whole portion. We went, took a real plane, got into this cockpit, a cockpit that was used in that movie Sully, which Tom Hanks sat in. It's the same cockpit we've used, So they didn't they pulled all stops, and said, let's go, okay, and let's do this. When you are working on a digital space, your whole reach of your audience is very different. This Z5 goes to 190 countries, so your audience is of that level. But that also means your competition is of that level. When you're competing with international quality of, production. So it's very important for me to see that will we be getting that, you know, and I was very, very fortunate to have this place. Like when you see the trailer, I've seen also whatever you all have seen is what I've seen, because I don't see the episodes and all of that myself.
You don't?
In the nascent stage, because I want to see it once it's ready.
But what if something is going wrong, you can make out then and there itself?
No, but I will see it maybe a week before. Okay, so I'm going to see it soon. Yeah, so once I know, okay, fine, this is it. Okay, then I would just put in my points and say, okay, just get this a little tweaked or put another shot there or whatever. But if necessary, but it is actually the narrative of the director. It's a prerogative of that, and I don't like to interfere in other people's work. I have to trust them. I have to let them do it. Something, and I don't see it. I don't see it till it's completely ready, and when I hear that it's good, that's when I go to see it. Otherwise, I won't see it.
Thanks a lot for talking to us, and hopefully the mystery will be heightened and will live up to the expectations.
Let's hope so. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.